John was born 3 months premature, and he was in the neonatal intensive care unit at St. Joseph's Hospital in Paterson, New Jersey. He had a pneumothorax, and he had a grade 4 intracranial hemorrhage.
They didn't know how bad things were going to be.
The doctor told us that he had this hemorrhage, and they just couldn't tell us what to expect, that he might be as a simple learning disability, or, you know, it could run a whole slew of things. We kind of got the idea that something was wrong because he was very, very stiff and rigid, to the point, as I said, I didn't know much about babies. I actually thought that if I moved him the wrong way, I might snap an arm or a leg off. He was that stiff. And that sounds really stupid, but that's how stiff he was. I was scared of hurting him. He slept for, I guess, maybe 6 or 8 weeks. He slept a lot. But then he wasn't sleeping as much, and the crying seemed to be every waking hour. Every minute that he was awake, he was crying. And he was treated for colic, and
he cried so hard his belly button.
Yeah, he had a
herniated belly button.
It stuck out. It must have stuck out about at least an inch. It's just he pushed it out from crying so much.
I guess we were just I was scared. I didn't know what to do, and Denise really didn't know what to do.
There was this one particular day where we were sitting in Charlie Brown's having lunch, and John said to me, I don't understand why God is punishing us this way. What did we ever do wrong? And I was thought about it, and I said, I don't really think God is punishing us at all. And he said, well, you know, what do you mean? I said, I think that God loves John so very much that he wanted him to have the very best parents he could find for him. Parents that he knew would do right by him and do everything they could for him, and I think that's why he chose us. And John's spirits immediately lifted. He said, boy, I feel better now. So I said, glad I could help. My mother and I would take him for physical therapy once a week down to St. Joseph's Hospital. When John was about five months old, I'd say, this physical therapist told us to find that we should find a physical therapist closer to our home, because he really needed physical therapy more than once a week. So I called Good Samaritan Hospital in Suffern, and I think I said something like, I had a baby, he's premature and he's very stiff, and they told me I need to get him physical therapy. Can I bring him to your hospital? Do you treat babies? And this woman who was so kind said, I think that you should contact this organization called Jawonio. It's in New City, and they have a wonderful early intervention program. When I heard the words early intervention, it scared me a little bit, because I was still hoping that his problem, if he had a problem, it was the result of prematurity and he was going to grow out of it, and an early intervention sounded like a place for children with big problems. And I was hoping that wasn't John. And then Jawonio sounded to me more like a summer camp name, you know, Camp Jawonio, where you go for the summer, so that sounded like fun. So that didn't scare me, but early intervention was scary. I felt very hopeful on the ride up. It was a beautiful day and the sun was out, and I took that as an omen. And John was always so precious to me. It was, whenever I was with him, I was happy, even in spite of the crying. So it was the three of us, and I felt, you know, very hopeful. And we walked in and we met with the social worker. Her name was Maddie Levine, and she was very nice. And she took us back to the room that I would later find out was the early intervention program. When we walked into the early intervention room at Jawonio, I felt very happy because it was decorated in primary colors and there were a lot of toys around.
There was mats on the floor.
There were mats on the floor, And we met Jerry Stoller and Joan Maurer, and Maddie was also there, and I think there was a special education teacher there, and probably an occupational therapist, but I don't remember who.
I don't remember the names, but I remember somebody like holding them on a mat and twisting them around and you know, doing things that scared the hell out of me, but they were all, you know, John was laughing and smiling, and
Yeah.
they were bending parts of them, and it was making them relaxed, and you know, it was things I never saw before, but, and they do everything they were doing or said. I don't know how to explain it, but
It was like
they knew, just like they knew John all the time, and they just saw him.
they weren't shocked by any of the
Yeah.
things that he did. When he graduated from the transitional nursery, he went to school at United Cerebral Palsy in Westchester till he was 16. During that time, he enjoyed Challenger Little League, and he made his first Holy Communion. He was in a special ed religion program. He made his sacraments. He made his first Holy Communion. He made his confirmation. Then at age 16, he came back to Rockland County and went to the Jesse Kaplan School, and he was there for about 4.5 years, and graduated when he was 21. And then it was time to look at programs for him, and we looked at about 4 or 5 programs in the county, and we ended up back home again with Jawonio. So we met with Janet Murphy, one of our honorees tonight, and you kind of know in your gut when it's a good fit. And she said, well, describe to me what you're looking for, describe John, which I did. She said, I think I have a home for you that sounds like John, but it will be open for 2 years. I said, well, that's okay. That'll give us time to get used to this transition. Describe it to me. And I said, sounds perfect. So she gave me directions, and I drove by, and I loved it from the outside. Aesthetically, it was beautiful.
And it was close to home.
I was close to home. So I went home and got the 2 Johns. I brought them back. You liked it, and
I liked it. Little John
looked at it and said, yay! He moved into Salmon House February 18th in 2009. And like I said, we're back home again, where we belong.